Wolves fans, single game tickets for the 24-25 Timberwolves season are on sale now. You can purchase single game tickets at timberwolves.com/single, timberwolves.com/single.
And as the Minnesota Timberwolves go, Alan Horton, the box for the Timberwolves, will be here at some point this week. The master of the skeletal remains of the fair schedule, or putting together the skeleton in the first place, is mad producer.
Yeah.
When's the old Vox out here, Alan Horton?
Actually, tomorrow, if you're planning on stopping out tomorrow, we kick things off with Kevin Gorg during the opening hour.
Mm-hmm.
Then Minnesota Wild general manager Bill Guerin joins us at 10.
Sweet.
And then that's when Alan Horton joins. He joins around 10:30. Michael Russo will be here around 11:15.
Sweet. So the Wolves Vox, Alan Horton tomorrow, off that outstanding season the T-Wolves just had. Look forward to that. Just like yours truly and many listening right now, look forward to the next conversation. He is a native of Anniston, Alabama, and he has been up here for a couple of years covering the Minnesota Vikings for the Athletic and Athletic.com via Twitter at Alec with a C _Lewis. Can I get a witness and a raucous round of applause for a valued contributor to 9 to noon in KFAN? He's YA young Alec Lewis at KFAN. Hello, buddy.
I feel like I walked from Quebec to get here.
Why?
I mean, I was walking through parking lots.
Mm-hmm.
Some bus guy yelled at me, "Get out of the lane!" I'm like, I don't really know where I am.
As you were walking, you got yelled at.
Oh yeah, some security guard acted like I knew where I was supposed to be going. I have no idea, but no, it's good to be here.
There is, with the State Fair, the Great Minnesota Clomp together, there is a fair amount of concrete jungle. Okay, a lot of concrete here, and you are of the dandelion picking variety. Just to clear your mind, chase butterflies, pick dandelions.
What I do, yeah.
Because I saw a tweet from you at the fair yesterday saying we're back. I'm like, what the hell is that? Your back-to-back days?
Saturday night. No, I sent it to a couple buddies that I was here with Saturday night. I sent a picture, and I was like, nowhere I'd rather be. 2 days after having a pork chop on a stick, alligator on a stick, 7 beers, I'm back. Yeah.
Well, you weren't at the Philadelphia game.
No.
And yeah, I mean, it's you watched it, you listened to it, and you have access to press conferences, stuff like that. You can absolutely execute your toil from afar in the preseason. That is now we begin the regular season. So at covering the team the way you do, knowing the people you know, and watching what you've watched with the cuts taking place tomorrow, the majority of them. What do you think of the squad into 2024?
Yeah, it's kind of a question mark. I mean, I think that it really, you ride or die with the quarterback, and he to me is a question mark. Like I think from an athleticism standpoint and an arm talent perspective, Sam Darnold has it, but I have questions about the processing, the decision making, the turnover stuff. If he turns the ball over, then it could be problematic, as you're taking a picture of me while I'm on the air, which makes it very difficult to continue talking.
It's radio.
But
only 35 can see.
I'm excited for the season.
Including my man, Jack. What's going on there, Jackie? Good to see you, buddy. Go ahead.
I'm excited for the season because it is as uncertain as it is. And like you know, it's funny. I was talking to a scout the other day, and we were just like,
and how is Matt Bowen?
How'd you know? No. But it's so, these games come down to one score, no matter how much expectation you have, how much you don't have, and so there's really no predicting this thing, and so it's fun, it's exciting. I was walking around this morning going to grab coffee, and I was like, finally, like the season is here, and it's been a whirlwind to get to this point, but right. I'm ready to get to New York and ready to roll.
Okay, so when the team begins organized team activities, is that a lowercase we're back? And then when it gets to training camp, it's a capital W and a capital B, we're back? And then into the regular season, it's all caps with 19 exclamation points. We're back.
Yeah, but at some point there's like an italicized, we're back.
Yep, no doubt.
There's an underlined, we're back. You have to.
Yeah. We're here.
Right.
Yeah.
We're here, we're back. But no, the season is.
There's like a capital W, a lowercase E, R, capital E.
Landed a little, yeah.
You know, like we're back, but stuff, a weird thing to figure out.
This is a closed circuit where people have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah,
but,
sure they do.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
I mean, it's we
follow you on X.
Thank you. Yeah, so many people out there follow you on the X machine that they know exactly what we're talking about.
The entire crowd, yeah.
Well, I don't know what you're doing between segments or after 9 to noon, but at the Great Minnesota Get-Together with Minnesota Viking devotees here just craving information, where's the sign? Did you bring a subscribe to the Athletic sign?
I did
to
not.
like walk around here and get people to subscribe? And why not? It's bountiful.
Russo actually told me he's bringing the sign tomorrow. You know, he's a big sign.
Is there a code on it?
Yeah, but his
you just scan it and subscribe to the Athletic.
But his vested deal is a little different than yours, so I understand that.
We'll hit a credit card for about $1, and then 12 months later we'll hit you for $70.
Yeah,
that's our slogan.
Well, no, 70. No, it's 140 for those who sign up for a friend and forget to give it to a friend and end up paying for two, which was me one year.
Well, I think you just there was one day,
and then the editor-in-chief of the New York Times contacts me. I'm like, bro, I don't have any friends.
There was one day
so I'll just pay the 70, and then let's just wipe it away after that.
There was one day in the studio where you couldn't log in. You're like, I guess I'm just going to buy another account. I'm like, you can't do that.
I know.
Because then your credit card's just going to be maxed out with athletics.
I have a child in college in Boulder, Colorado. That credit card hasn't been at 0.0000 for a year and a half.
That makes sense.
So the Athletic would be the least of the concerns here, you know?
Are you ready for the season?
Extremely. Yeah, I'm very excited. That's a shocker. But I don't, I like into O'Connell's first year, and you weren't here that year, right?
I was.
Okay. I don't know if you had been here by this time, but I went on I had like 10 to 15 vocal maintenance days, and was thinking a lot about the team and everything, and I came back on the radio, and I'm like, you know what? I don't mesh an epiphany from God and tie it to football, okay, something so trite. But I came back saying, here's my premonition. I think the Vikings are going to go to the Super Bowl this year, and here's why. And I said they'd win 13 games. They won 13 games. I said they would go to the Super Bowl. Well, they didn't exactly make it that far, but I had that feel for the overall vibe into O'Connell's first season. Last season, I think I made a prediction they're going to win 10 or 11, something like that, but I didn't have that feel. I didn't have that vibe. I don't exactly know why. This year, it's closer to... I'm not going to say they're going to go to the Super Bowl, and I'm not ready to put a win total on it yet. This is a very good team. This is a very good football team, better than last year. Even with Cousins, this team will be better than last year. We'll just leave it at that for now.
I thought you were about to premonition Super Bowl right here. I was like, I thought we were about to get some crazy statement right out of you. I was excited about it. No,
it was a crazy statement 2 years ago until they went out and won 13, and then a lot of people were saying it 6 months later.
No, I do think, to your point about the team overall, like the defense specifically is better. I don't think I have no question, no qualm, there's nothing.
How about that kicker?
You lose, Will Reicher's incredible.
He's unbelievable.
You lose Daniil Hunter. Tough loss. Jordan Hicks, great leader, great green dot communicator in the middle of the defense. But when you bring in the versatility of an Andrew Van Ginkel, a Jonathan Gennard, a Blake Cashman, assuming that his finger's okay, Dallas Turner. Like, you have so much more speed, versatility on the back end to have Stephon Gilmore and Shaq Griffin at cornerback.
Yeah.
The defense will be better, and paired with Brian Flores, they're going to give a lot of people headaches. Offensively, I think the most under-the-radar player on this entire team right now is Aaron Jones.
Yeah, Nordo made that point earlier.
I don't think people are talking enough about how electric this guy's going to be. I think from a receiver depth standpoint, they're more solidified than I probably expected them to be. Offensive line in the interior, I have questions. The quarterback, I have questions. But overall, I don't think you're going out on a limb to say that this team as a whole is better and easier to dream on. Now the schedule's harder, and that's where it starts to get iffy for me.
They're going to win more than 7 games. So that over under is 7.5. It was 6.5, and then the smarts, the sharps, the whales let it stay at 6.5 for about 8 minutes, and it went right up to 7.5, and that's where it stayed because they're going to win more than 7 games if their quarterback situation is stable, at least stable for the season, and Aaron Jones plays, let's say, 13 or more, they're going to win more than 7 games.
They are. And PA, you mentioned it on the broadcast on Saturday. the reinvigorating part. So into the first year of O'Connell and Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, you're feeling things out, getting to know these guys, and you made your tout about them having a chance to go to the Super Bowl. But you were talking about it as recent as Saturday, and it kind of hit me the same way, because I brought it up a few times. I brought it up with you, Alec, that you can feel the culture, you can feel the spark and the energy around this team, and it's players in, players out every single year. But PA really hit the nose on the head, where into this new regime, you're probably like some of the players are, you're shaking off the cobwebs and the frustration of just kind of how the previous 2 years had went. And Kevin O'Connell comes in, and it's a shock. But it's a good shock, and it's an absolute defibrillator. That's a tough word to say on the fly.
You did it well. He did it well.
Nailed it.
But it was paddles to the chest with this group, and even finding it. You were down there in Cleveland. I went to Philly, so a much shorter run. That 4 days felt probably like a week this time of year. But feeling how close these guys are and how ready they are, the energy and the culture that Kevin O'Connell has brought, I'm still so enamored by that, even though that now into year 3, it's not a flash in the pan. It's just part of what we know.
Yeah, and I give Kevin O'Connell a lot of credit.
That was nice.
He was asked at the end of last week by Kevin Seifert of ESPN, who is incredible and does a great job, about Kevin O'Connell was asked about managing these last few months and all of the challenges that they've had to face. And it's off-field tragedies, obviously. It's on-field brutal injuries. And Kevin's response, to me, kind of summed up the leader that he's been since he got here in terms of navigating adversity, making sure that he's a rock for players 24/7, 365. And I started this by saying I think you give Kevin O'Connell a lot of credit. But if they are to exceed 7 wins this year, if they are to surpass expectations, be better in the NFC North than a lot of people expect, I think a lot of the credit has to go to that guy who will be wearing the headset and calling the plays on Sunday, because it's going to take a better run game, and a lot of that's going to fall on him. It's going to take a quarterback who's turned the ball over a lot in years past, not doing as much. That's going to rely a lot on the play caller. So a lot is going to be placed on him, and I already give him a lot of credit for the way he's managed what has been placed on him to this point.
Yeah, I didn't really want to get deeply into it today. I think it's too early, but the A topic for the team is copyright Roger Daltrey, Peter Townsend, and the Who.
Peter Townsend for sure.
Who are you? Who? Sam Darnold. Who are you? That's the A topic, because it's I and a lot of us have said a lot of the same things through OTAs, training camp, and up to now. Because there's nothing else to say with it's one of two things, and you have to be a person of conviction to take the other side. In that, okay, well, I hear that, Paul, about Jefferson and Addison and O'Connell and Phillips and McCown and O'Hara and Mangelico and just the whole staff. I hear that and I understand that. I also have the right to formulate that Sam Darnold is bad and that he has the nervous gene and the fidgety gene, and he's not going to get rid of it no matter if Don Coryell or Kevin O'Connell are coaching him. And I'm putting him on a bad season with, close to as many interceptions as touchdowns. Well, of course, people have the right to say that, even though I don't see it that way. Well, see, that could happen. Okay, well, because those are part of the past performances. And those are what people mostly have seen in a prisoner of the moment society. I'm #faith guy, specifically over fear. So I'm going to prognosticate what he has around him, what I've seen without overselling. And then we'll watch it against the Giants. And, it's not going to be 454-0 every single game. But there are going to be more rushing touchdowns coming than anybody sees from him. And I think it's going to be okay and requisite of a team making the playoffs. But if you have the other side of the opinion, I'm not mad at you until we all see it. He's the A topic. He's the A topic for this team today, Tuesday, all week, and all week up to that Giants game, until he shows he can handle pressure in certain situations.
Yeah, I did a lot of work this summer talking to people that Sam Darnold has been around. The story has not been published yet. At some point in the next week and a half, it will.
Very sweet.
But I did a lot of work. I'm talking
Josh McCown?
I'm talking, if I showed you my Google Doc, you would say, is this a book? I got 47
Okay, well, tease me a little bit here. Josh McCown was a teammate of his.
I just think
Like, who are we talking about here? Pete Carroll, John Robinson,
a lot of people.
James Harris.
We always talk about quarterbacks and they're analyzed, and
you won't say a name, which means you really don't have a Google Doc.
It's on first. I'll show you this when we go to break.
I believe you.
We always talk about quarterbacks, and the narrative always revolves: this guy's bad, this guy's good.
Yeah.
This guy can play, this guy can't. It's so easy on the outside to just see the figurehead who is the quarterback, and this is the biggest position in all of sports.
Right.
But it is everything around this guy and every quarterback that matters, just in my opinion, and from talking to people, that matters just as much in terms of whether that guy succeeds or fails than just the guy himself. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest. Like, you can't compare anybody to him in the way he plays. But he's been in the same system with the same Hall of Fame coach, with a Hall of Fame tight end. And I'm not comparing Sam Darnold to Patrick Mahomes.
No, I got you.
But I think circumstantial evidence would tell you, if you talk to people who are with him in New York and with him in Carolina, the situations that this guy has had to go through. Like, you talk to people who have been around him, and they will tell you there is not a person who deserves to finally find success more than Sam Darnold with what he's navigated. And he will not get into it. He's been asked in a million press conferences, what did you learn about being a young quarterback developing in the NFL? And he just skirts the answers because he's a good guy who doesn't want to throw shade on anybody else. But if you really dig in and you really hear stories about what he's been through, you almost sit there and are like, how the heck could this guy have had success?
Okay, well, how good of a quarterback do you think Brock Purdy is?
I think Brock's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. If Brock is not with next level Shanny, how good is he?
Maybe better than people think, because I think his work ethic is at a level that people on the outside have no idea.
Yeah,
but
see, I think Darnold is more gifted than Brock Purdy. Into the season last year,
physically,
my prediction was you have a better chance to win the Super Bowl with Sam Darnold than you do Brock Purdy, and that never came to fruition. Even so, inherently I was wrong, because Kyle Shanahan knows 8 million times more about it than I ever will, and he uses Purdy, and he had Darnold there. But off your quarterbacks either are a 10 or they are a 0. Brock Purdy is neither a 10 or a 0. So he's a quarterback conundrum, because of the system in which he plays. He is succeeding. The system in which Cousins played, he was having the best year of his career. And then, and with O'Connell the year before, and obviously things were different, no 4 quarterback stuff like that. Cousins had his first best year of his career. Just kept getting better, but the 2022, was fantastic. And the first part of the 2023 for Cousins was terrific. Well, that has to be the expectation with Darnold. It's either the development of quarterbacks. Well, look at Jaron Hall in the preseason. Okay, they gave him more of a menu of offensive plays.
It was awesome.
My man came through.
It was awesome.
Looked like he was developed pretty well by a high-end developing coaching staff. Well, that needs to be the case with Darnold, where it's, are you closer to Nick Mullins or are you closer to Kirk Cousins? Because for all Cousins' flaws, lack of mobility, and you had to connect A to B to C to D. But when it connected, that man made you pay. He was cold-blooded when everything went the right way. Darnold's not supposed to be that guy. He's supposed to be able to run away from it a little bit and slide a little differently. Well, Mullins, he's closer to the in-the-pocket guy. You're running up 400 yards of offense against a Bengals defense and then a full-throttle Lions defense, and he's throwing it away. Okay, you see what I'm saying here? You have Cousins on one end, Mullins on the other. The bet's going to be settled when we determine, is Darnold closer to what you saw last year with Kirk or with Mullins? Because if it's closer to Mullins, you're going to have 350 yards and 2 interceptions, one at the very worst time, you're going to lose the game.
Well, yeah. And I think he's different than both, because athletically, if you're out, you've seen practice.
I'm talking results.
Yeah, results. Sure. But I think the process is interesting, because, like, Kirk, I think part of the reason that Kirk has had as much success in the NFL as he's had is because of his ability to process.
Right.
And so that's with Sam Darnold, to me, that and you said it earlier. You said, is he jittery in the pocket? Is he nervous against pressure? That to me, can Sam Darnold process at a level that you have to how much is flying at you and how much is moving? If he can do that, or if the Vikings staff can prohibit him from having to do that over and over and over, then I think he will have the results that lean more towards Kirk than they would probably Nick Mullins.
Well, because there are low hangers from a talkability standpoint with Sam, and I've been guilty of oversharing a lot of them time after time after time because there's nothing else to share until we start seeing stuff. But one of them is the level of talent with which Darnold played when he was with the Jets and with the Carolina Panthers. And it is better here, okay, for the most part.
That's an understatement.
Really? Well, he had Christian McCaffrey for how many games? A lot.
3 games the first season he was in Carolina, 2021. Then they were 3-0, and then Christian McCaffrey got hurt. I think he came back ultimately, but Sam was also injured, had a shoulder injury, I believe, week 8 or 9 against Atlanta.
Okay.
And he ran for 66 yards that day. But
he had McCaffrey.
He had McCaffrey, and he had DJ Moore. There was talent.
Yeah, that was the next. And Nordo's guy, Ian Thomas or Tommy Tremble. I mean, 2 of the underrated tight ends in the NFL. So, but with the Jets also, I mean, it wasn't, excuse me. I'm sorry about that. All right, 3-2. But the Jet situation, dramatically different than here, I understand. But he also was super young in his career.
Yeah.
There's so many fascinating things with this young man where
why it's so fun.
I'm just done taking the low-hanging fruit here, and I got some different things I want to talk about with Darnold up to the season, starting maybe tomorrow. But that's the A topic for the team. Wouldn't you agree? This quarterback, and how he handles things.
Well, and I think as much as we can get into the talent, but it goes back to Kevin O'Connell. So PA nailed it earlier. All these quarterbacks coming into the draft, they wanted to be like, they saw Kevin O'Connell as, if I'm going to be drafted by somebody, I'd absolutely love Minnesota. Well, that can't be that much different when it comes to a guy farther along in his career, right? So,
no doubt.
Zero excuses. It's all of that. He's had those issues at other spots.
Yeah.
This is perceived externally in a big way that this is the best chance he's had in his career to flourish. Probably internally, if we're talking to Sam off the mic, he'd say something similar.
Yeah.
But in the end, I think even, JJ, I mean, he's unbelievable. And Addison, Hawkinson's going to be healthy. But I think it actually just goes back to the head coach, where this social experiment that you're talking about and how the things around a QB matter as much as the QB does himself.
Agreed.
I'm putting this on the shoulders of the head coach.
Yeah, I'm completely on the other side because the head coach's schemes and offense are proven.
That's what I mean in a positive way.
I see.
I think
because I'm putting the pressure on Darnold.
Well, the pressure day to day is absolutely on him to execute and doing the thing, but he's never going to.
I see what you're saying.
But Kevin O'Connell really is the one that is putting this on a platform, putting it on a tee, and now Darnold just has to go hit it 400 yards.
But it's more, too, than just like system and structure from the coaching staff. It's also like, do you set up an environment where that quarterback really believes that you believe in him? And I think that's with Kirk Cousins, as you were just talking about. You could tell over the last 2 years, and I don't want to say it was perfect between he and Kevin O'Connell because they're both really smart. They have opinions and all that. But genuinely, I think deep down, Kirk felt a level of belief from the head coach and the coaching staff in a way that was propelling him to a level that I don't think he'd played at before. And so with Sam, even more than just the skill players, the system in general, play action, boot, all that stuff, the environment, and I think how much they've made him feel. Like I sat down with Josh McCown last week, and Josh said to me, and he was like aggressive in saying this as we were sitting there. He's like, I believe in this guy, Alec. Like, I believe in this dude. I watch him work every single day. I know how much he cares about this. And like, I think as a player, you can feel that. You guys remember like Little League when you knew you were like and your daughters, I'm sure, can like relate. Like when you know that the coach really like believes in you, you can feel that, and you probably have an idea when they don't. And I think with
Sam,
Sam,
how about Tua? I mean, and that's not digging into the Flores thing, and Flores addressed it, but the way that Tua spelled that out,
it's exactly right.
Fully accurate or otherwise, his perception was when he went to work, he got bleeped on. And then Mike McDaniel rolls in, and it's there was a different approach. And Tua spoke glowingly for nearly 2 full minutes about how he transitioned from a mentality standpoint and how he grew. It truly matters.
Yeah, fascinating conversation.
Can we talk about Bo Richter next?
We will around the corner. But do you agree up to the season, the A topic for this football team is the performance overall of the quarterback, Sam Darnold?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, me too. 9 to noon continues after this with Alec Lewis from the State Fair, The Athletic, theathletic.com. Nordo by our side. Don't leave.
Come join us at the 2024 Minnesota State Fair live from Carousel Park, presented by Mesh, Besher, and Spence. We're broadcasting live through Labor Day. You can buy your favorite fan merch, learn about your shot to be the Mesh, Besher, and Spence Rube of the Day, and you could win a prize pack. Get full details now, KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Alec Lewis, The Athletic, theathletic.com.
I like that shirt.
Thank you.
Lululemon?
Yeah, it's this new store that just popped up with nice fabric and nice headbands for those who have a full head of hair and shorts and stuff like that.
You do have a good, I mean, it's always been a good head of hair from when I've known you.
Well, I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Hey, doesn't everybody think Alec is a real handsome young man? Ladies?
Yeah.
Thank you all, everybody. All men clapping, which is totally fine.
That's our main demo.
Nordo has been toe tapping because when we had your cohort, some would say adversarial scribe. I would say cohort.
It's not
Ben Gessling, where I'm like reading off my 53 and stuff. Nordo has his 53, or thoughts on it, I would assume. And so I know he wants to go down that road with the numbers game and like tomorrow and everything. And
tell me what you got. I'm all ears.
Mm-hmm. What do you have, Nordo?
Well, we tried to do the segment with you and your technical adversary at the same time.
I would have loved to do it.
We were told that contractual obligations eliminated the possibility.
No, he just doesn't like you, so that had nothing to do with contracts or anything.
I mean, it could very well be the case.
Yeah, I'm just playing with you.
Yeah.
He had to do the podcast. Oh, speaking of that, your podcast.
I do have a podcast.
Yeah,
great.
Did you did one on the roster, right?
I did. I posted Saturday the Alec Lewis show. I'm really creative with the name. But yeah, I had Nordo on my podcast last week. It's been very fun. Mm-hmm. Extra work. You gotta love it.
Where can people find that podcast?
They can find it on the iHeartRadio app. That it's on there. And
it is on the iHeart app. That's correct.
All right, Common, who's this? 2 nuns and a goat got on a train in Cleveland. God rest his soul, Dark Star, right?
No, you can find it on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, the whole.
What about iHeart?
Yeah, and I started with iHeart.
Okay, great.
Because Chad Abbott, he's been texting me, pump iHeart. We should.
Well, yeah, of course. Well, because it's an iHeart way to not give you money and say, we will promote your podcast being on iHeart. No, that ain't calling it a day. That's not fair.
No, we're talking about the podcast. The people in the audience are probably like,
you're on the radio in the summer more than me, okay? You should be paid.
It's fine.
So, Nordo, go ahead.
Vikes Bites!
Oh, Vikes Bites. Yeah. Provided by who?
Brought to you by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef, a Clearwater, Minnesota company. Elite product, regenerative agriculture. You can learn about that at the website. You can shop online. A box of meat shows up at your doorstep. Or local Coburns and local co-ops for our more rural listeners. How are we going to sift through, and I wrote this in Vikes Bites fashion, so I'm going to kind of bounce around a little bit, but trying to sift through the pass rushers. This feels like one of the spots specifically on defense, and PA he went today with a 24 on offense, 26 on defense, plus the specialists get to the final 53. I think these pass rushers conversations are tough inside Egan right now, whether it's Gabriel Murphy. I know they like him a lot, but he couldn't get on the field.
Injured.
Andre Carter rolls out with a couple of sacks on Saturday. They had him in the mix a year ago. But then Bo Richter, right? The Air Force kid.
Oh, yeah.
How do you sift through that? What do you see coming tomorrow?
Yeah, well, Gabe Murphy has an injury. The team has not disclosed it. I've seen him once in maybe 3 or 4 weeks. I saw him on the field pregame before they played the Raiders in the first preseason game. So the injury happened before that. He didn't play that day, and I haven't seen him since.
I think Bo Richter is the new Gabriel Murphy.
I don't think that's the craziest comment I've ever heard. I think depending on what they end up doing with Gabe Murphy, who had really impressed before he got injured, let's say that they put Gabe Murphy, they find a way to somehow keep him, but he's on the injury, he's injured. Then I think that could open a slot for a guy like Bo Richter, who hails from Air Force. I think he's like the Air Force fan base's great favorite player of all time. I mean, he's like that
was an unbelievable compound adjective. One of the longest in the history of 9 to Noon or 10 to 1 just for fun.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think Bo Richter, I wouldn't be shocked if he made it alongside your Andrew Van Ginkel, your Jonathan Grenard, your Dallas Turner, your Patrick Jones, and your Jihad Ward. Jihad Ward, I think, is into.
Bikes bites,
feel right.
How do you work your way through this offensive line? Because speaking of injury, again, I haven't seen Dalton Reisner on the field. We know who the starting 5 are going to be with Brandell at the left guard spot.
Gessling hits us with a Fandini. I forgot he was on the team. He never plays.
Who?
Fandini. Dan Feeney.
Got the sweet mustache.
He's been hurt for a week and a half, too.
Week and a half? He played in any preseason games?
I don't know. Maybe longer than that.
Yeah, okay.
I think he got rolled up on was the comment I heard. But
Walter Rouse has kind of had an up and down preseason as well. He's a rookie, and we're talking about reserve spots.
Yep.
I watched him get turnstiled on Saturday at Philly. That led to a sack. That led to a field goal in the red zone. Didn't like that. But it's Quesenberry. It's probably Rouse, likely Rouse. Let's just call it Rouse.
Sure.
Juergens, the potential backup center, he's had up and down in preseason as well. What do you do with the O-line?
Well, he was down on the ground the first 2 games a lot of times.
But just a kid.
I think I missed it with having Juergens on my 53, simply because...
Hold on. You think he will be on?
Well, if you practice squad him or put him on waivers, I don't think somebody picks him up. And now, if you pick him up off waivers, are you required to put him active 53?
Yeah, I believe so.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I just don't think that. I think you can slide him through to the practice squad, which potentially opens a spot for Reisner or Fandini.
Well, first, I think you got to figure out Reisner's injury.
Yeah.
He had a back. I talked to him like before a practice maybe 3 weeks ago, and he's like, "Yeah, I hurt my back a little bit. I hurt my back a little bit. I should be back soon." Well, he hasn't been back soon. So maybe for him, you place him on short-term IR. That gives you another spot. Juergens, they picked in the 7th round. When they picked him, they posted a video of the behind-the-scenes, and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and Ryan Grigson were pumped about it. I didn't have him on my projection, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was on the roster. But then you have other questions. Dan Feeney. I thought Tyrese Robinson has had a pretty good camp.
Robinson's a wild card.
Robinson's definitely a wild card.
Because he's big and he can play guard. And like Brandell. Why is Brandell playing left guard? Okay, hopefully it works out incredibly well for the team, but he's bigger and he has more road grading to
vertical push.
Right, than Reisner, who happens to be a high-end pass protector, and I guess we'll see if Brandell is. But this Tyrese Robinson, that's what I think they see in him. Bigger guy with whom you can, do some stuff at the guard spot.
They like him, but it could be like a Juergens situation where you feel like you can get Tyrese Robinson to the practice squad.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a lot of these decisions come down to that. You're trying to get intel from other teams. What do they need? What does a team in the AFC need? What positions are they looking for? Do they need a guard? Did they have a scout at the preseason game to watch our guard?
Yeah.
We might have had scouts at preseason games to watch cornerbacks who could potentially play gunner or what have you. So there's a lot of this intel game going on that you kind of see around the draft. It's a similar type vibe right now with how these NFL buildings are operating.
Bites.
Bikes, bites, Nords. Last one.
5 safeties, the Hitman, Bynum, Metellus, Theo Jackson, and Jay Ward.
That's
Lewis
how
seen that it comes to an end, maybe at least for now. Whether they try to get him on a practice squad, et cetera. Lewis seen not making the final 53.
Yeah, that's how it feels to me. Jay Ward is a special teams contributor in a way that Lewis seen hasn't been. He's also They've only had him for 2 years. While Lewis, this is his third season. So yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. It was great to see him play the way he did in Cleveland. I really enjoyed seeing the joy that this guy kind of played with at Georgia. I like seeing that come back. But overall, I mean, yeah, this team needs as much depth as possible. That draft still stings in terms of where they're at from an entire roster perspective. But yeah, I just think it's the end of the road for Lewis.
The final segment today, 9 to noon, from the Great Minnesota Get Together is on the horizon, so don't leave. Why do you love college game day as much as you do?
It reminds me of being a kid and waking up Saturday morning and just I don't know. I love college football. I grew up in Alabama, so it's like your whole life. So I love it.
Is that
this week? I mean, we got it. I was thinking about it driving out here. This week has become one of my favorites of the whole year.
Yeah.
I get to come out and see you guys. College football starting. I get to work on these long stories that I love. You get a little bit of the transactional game with the cuts and all that stuff. So this has become just a special time.
So down Alabama way, or down Baton Rouge way, or in these legitimate college towns, these college football hotbeds. And by the way, with no professional sports in the state, that would be Alabama. So you go to school, say middle school, high school, whatever, and the big conversations are about how good do you think Alabama's going to be? How good is LSU? Hey, Spurrier has something cooking in Florida. They average 38 points a game. So it's deep conversation about the SEC and college football, right?
Oh yeah.
Because that never happens here.
What do you think about Lanning? What are they doing? Is Texas and the SEC going to be?
Yeah.
I mean, you're arguing over it at lunch while you're eating bad fried chicken on Wednesdays.
Why do you think that is not the case in this state? I mean, it is for a pocket of people, but
no, because you have the Vikings, which this city rise and dies with that. You have the Wolves now, where Anthony Edwards is a megastar. You have hockey, which people here love, and I don't even understand. So there's a lot going on.
I see.
And the Gophers, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just traditionally. The other thing is Alabama's been great for 70 years, so of course people are going to.
So is Tuscaloosa a stone cold college town?
Oh my God!
Yeah, like Boulder, Colorado is. People have heard of Boulder, Colorado, but it is a college town. I didn't know that until I got there. It's just the ancillary part of it. People have lived there for a long time, but in let's say 6, 7, 8 miles out, and you circumnavigate it. That's a college town. Tuscaloosa's like that?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, because Minneapolis is not like that.
Yeah. Well, what is the difference between a stone-cold college town and just a semi-cold college?
I think
good point.
Tuscaloosa is an institution.
Great point.
And it also plays back into the lack of pro teams. We're in a very urban environment where a large part of the campus is physically within the metro area.
Yeah.
Whereas we're talking fields, we're talking boutique shops, we're talking little diners and things like that, which in Dinkytown they can recreate that to some extent, but it's truly a captive institution in Tuscaloosa,
right?
Where we have big buildings and a lot of urban life taking place around it.
So Boulder is a college town. Tuscaloosa is a stone cold college
town.
Thank you.
I was wondering.
Happy Valley is Boulder has some Edina to it outside of the college area, and it's a beautiful part of the country. But it's a college town,
right? Not
for
stone cold.
Yeah,
so stone cold.
I mean, like St. Cloud, Mankato, Dinkytown, stuff like that. I mean, that's not even in the class of Boulder. Yet Boulder isn't in the class of Tuscaloosa or Happy Valley or maybe Gainesville,
Columbia, Missouri.
Yeah, right, Columbia, right, for sure.
Right.
Yeah, Oxford.
No, it's good.
What about Columbus, Ohio, and Ohio State?
I've never been.
Yeah, see that? I mean,
but I think that's a little Boulderish.
Yeah.
Columbus, Ohio's kind of
point.
They've got a pro soccer team there.
Yep. They've got the pro
Blue
hockey
Jackets.
team. Yeah.
They play hockey. Little quack quack. Yep.
Quack quack.
I don't know. When I think of hockey, I think sticks smacking against each other. I don't know.
So what do you think is next for Jaron Hall? I mean, would you be willing to venture a guess? Because we don't know what's up with his leg, and if his leg,
I think what's next for him is he'll go to the facility, work out, rehab, come home, be on the 53-man roster, and that's probably how it goes. I'd be worried. I mean,
it's just that easy?
Now, we'll see how no, it's not. He's worked his butt off. He's out. He is. Jaron Hall.
Some of us take this seriously.
Jaron Hall is out there every day, the last player out there. He's I promise.
Just like last year on Fridays.
And
then we played the Green Bay game.
I don't need to be reminded of that. Right? Thank you. That's a stone cold memory that I'd like to get rid of.
Okay, so you continue.
No, Jaron Hall. There are other teams that I know have watched him very closely this preseason. Mm-hmm. And I would be a little worried if I was the Vikings. Now, the injury may sway things. I don't really know the extent of that. I think Kevin O'Connell called it a contusion, but I think he'll be fine.
You're excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alec Lewis, ladies and gentlemen, card-carrying member of the Love Covenant. Sign up for The Athletic. Not only for Alec, but Dan Hayes, John Krasinski, Russo Radio, and so on. It's fantastic. The Athletic, theathletic.com. It's fantastic, just like you guys. Thank you very much for listening to KFAN. When you do, Eric Nordquist produces, and I'm Paul Allen. God bless all of you, and have a wonderful day at the fair. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good times. Ain't we lucky we got 'em? Good times.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.